I'd like to thank everyone for attending this screening of As the Earth Turns. This film has been a great experience for myself. I'd like to thank Kim Lyford Bishop, my co-producer, for inviting me on this grand adventure. Kim had been gathering 16mm films from her family and saw some of my work as a composer. She asked if I was interested in adding music to one of the films. I watched the film and agreed to score it. It's been a true challenge for me, and I feel it pushed me to create something really special. There are moments on a film score that can truly create an emotional impact to the scene. This is hardly a silent film. Most films have music under the dialogue. This film has to be completely supported by the music end to end. That's a composer's dream score. Richard Lyford, the director, did experiment with music, including devising a way to synchronize records' time to the action. We discovered this after I started the score. Based on family information, though, I believe my choice on style and orchestration is in the spirit of the director's wishes. From that point on, the project started to gather steam. The score was coming out very well, and we started to talk about the possibility of getting this film out to the public. The backstory of the director, Richard Lyford, was also getting very interesting. At one point, Kim discovered some footage that was missing from the film. I was able to edit it back in, and the film started to become much more cohesive. We decided to leave the film in its original state for now to show the challenges of the 1930s Pacific Northwest independent filmmaker. In the future, we may release a more cleaned up version to bring it more to the present. Besides being entertaining, this film is a fun educational experience for anyone interested in filmmaking. The writing, acting, directing, makeup, special effects are all on display and quite impressive for the time period. Lyford was only 20 when he made this film using 16mm equipment. I recommend that you watch it with that era in mind. This is not a modern sci-fi film. If you watch Things to Come or the serial Flash Gordon, you can compare how close Lyford got to Hollywood filmmaking of that day. Watching it now, you may notice it has elements of dialogue that seem to foreshadow more modern TV and films, including Star Trek, In Like Flint, Dr. Strangelove, and even Austin Powers. Lyford was born in 1917, 2 years after Orson Welles, and he died the same year as Welles in 1985. After Lyford made this film, he went to Hollywood and worked for Disney on Dumbo, Pinocchio, and Fantasia. He made films for the Army Air Forces in World War II and then did independent projects, including directing a 1950 documentary about Michelangelo that won an Academy Award. As a composer, I've probably watched this film as much as Lyford did. I can't help to think that he really created something very special from this era. I wonder what would have happened if he had not gone to Disney and worked behind the scenes. Would he have developed like Orson Welles and become a big-name director in Hollywood? For this film, Lyford had a seasoned crew and acting company to do this very challenging film. Welles also had the Mercury Theater Company. Both of them cut their teeth on stage productions. When you watch this film, think about the abilities of a 20-year-old to create it. I work with modern independent filmmakers often. I believe Richard Lyford sets a standard for filmmakers that few have achieved. To finish, there's a quote that nicely sums up Richard Lyford's point of view. "So you see, it gets you. You can't get away from it. And I know that as long as I have grease paint behind my ears and developer stain on my best shirt, I'll live in a happier life." Please enjoy the film.